God, this is awesome. Okay. Wow. I didn't even have to give like details of like what type of icon that I'm looking for. I don't know if this is scary or great. Hello and welcome to Mark Codex. My name is Mark. Welcome back, friends, to our part 2 in the series where we are trying to find out the answer to the question, will ChatGPT replace software engineers or not? If you haven't watched part 1, I highly recommend watching it, link in the description, to pick where we have left off. Now, in today's video, we will put ChatGPT to the test and see how it will do or just how bad it is. Now, keep in mind, I will use ChatGPT assuming that I, quote unquote, as the one who will write the app, know nothing about code, just like very, very basic stuff. So let's get into it. Okay, so I pulled up ChatGPT right now. I wrote somewhat of a brief description of the app, but I have a README here with a user story and an acceptance criteria and a mock. So basically, like any company that will start, like, I don't know, an app or a feature, they have to have these kind of things, like it's an agile system. So basically, we have the user story. As a user, I want to be able to log my expenses so that I would be able to see how much I spend monthly. So that's kind of like the general idea of the app. I'm not going to go into much of a detail here. It's just like a broad idea. And then given an expense tracker with the hero section contains form inputs, which basically that's what it is. We have our acceptance criteria. So when I click on add expense, then an expense item should be added to the main expense list with an empty field so I can fill them. When I finish filling the input fields of an expense, then I should be able to save my expense, and the total sum of all expenses showing on the screen are updated accordingly. So this is what I mean by here. When I click an edit button within an expense item, then I should be able to edit the content, and the edit button will toggle into a save button. When I click on delete button, then I expect that expense item to be deleted, and the total is updated accordingly. So I wrote like a general kind of a form. I'm trying to assume, as I mentioned, is like I don't know much about code, but I know I have this kind of like user story. I know what the app should be, which technology I need to use for the app, which is Vue.js. It's mentioned here, so I know just this, and I have the mock. So this should be like a non-technical kind of a person or non-programmer kind of a person trying to build this app. So, build an expense tracker. So we're asking in ChatGPT, web app using the latest Vue.js. The app will be consistent of one page that shows a main container. The main container is split into 4 rows. The first row shows the title of the page. The second row will have a button that to add an expense. The third row will contain expenses list. The expenses list. The fourth row will show the total of all expenses. The app can add, edit, update, and delete an expense. So I'll start with this general idea, and let's see where we go from there. The hope is that we're going to get to somewhat close, and then we can basically just edit the app on the get-go. So like every time we do something, like I'm gonna do this, we will receive an output from ChatGPT, we'll apply it, we will see what happened, and then we will keep adding on to that. The whole goal is just to see, well, are we gonna be able to build this app if I am non-technical or not? How long is it gonna take? How perfect it is, and how crazy ChatGPT is. So let's get started. Okay, so hitting enter, and let's see the generation. Now, the problem with ChatGPT these days, like, it's a bit slow. Well, I say it's slow. It has a lot of users, and honestly, like sometimes the answer will take longer or it will break because I don't know, like there's like millions and millions of users. They got hit with this big traffic after like a lot of people are listening and watching this because this is free, open source kind of like an app. So, and yeah, as we can see, it's like taking a long time. So I'll pause the video. Hopefully this won't take longer. Okay, so it started to build an expense tracker app. Okay. Okay, so it's explaining the way to do things, but it's not showing me any code. So maybe we can wait. Yeah, this is a high-level overview, and there are many details that need to be considered. Okay, so it seems that ChatGPT is like it didn't write any code, and that's expected because I said build an app using blah blah blah. So now maybe we can rephrase, write an app, and I'll speed through this so you don't have to wait. Okay, so I decided to break this down into multiple steps. So I'll start with write a Vue.js app. Let's see what's going to happen. So far, like as a non-programmer, this is like honestly painful because like I don't know what you're talking about, like Vue CLI. What do you mean by creating a new component? Use Vue template syntax. These are great for maybe programmers or someone who's expert in building apps for a living. It could be like a really good overview, highlights, but I mean, even for, I don't see like what's the fuss is all about ChatGPT because so far I didn't get anything. Like I've seen people write stuff with it and like their minds are blown. Maybe like my mind is waiting to be blown, I guess. We'll see. So yeah, I'll stop generating because now this is just painful to watch. It seems like it's not able to complete like the whole thing. So let's again rephrase. Let's say how to build a Vue.js app. Okay, so we'll do Vue create, and we'll put the period. It should start running. Generate project and current directory. Yes. Default is Vue 3. Sure. So yeah, it seems like the ChatGPT stuff is a bit old, maybe. I think I read somewhere it's like around 2021 or something, or 2022. But either way, the whole end of the day goal is to see and compare what's going to happen between the two. So between the one I built before and the one and this one, and see like how long it took. So far, we've been through like going back and forth around like 10-15 minutes, but we'll put a countdown like at the end and see like how long it took. Okay, so yarn serve. I'll do that. Okay. Okay, we have a full app, I guess, and then cd npm run serve, build your app, creating Vuex, whatever. Okay, so now let's get into the logic. I will say create a Vue page that actually let's get a couple of the logics from the text that I wrote before. Maybe we can just do this. Maybe now Vue.js page. Oh, well, what do you know? Maybe the ChatGPT is down. So let's do that. Create view as that shows. Basic example, yeah, sure. We will get to that later. And let's replace all this here. Let's save, and we have problems. Maybe I should turn off my ESLint just because. Yeah, I don't know. I'll comment it out. That's fine. I'll make an assumption that like I'm a bit I know a bit of code, but so far things are good. We got the app, named it expenses, sure. But yeah, like we need to start adding stuff to it. Okay, now write code for add expense function. So yeah, like expense name, expense amount. Okay, name and amount. Well, that's good. So they're using, okay. So it's taking somewhat of like utilizing the amount. Let's see what happens if I click add. Okay. So expense is iPhone. Okay. 300. Okay. Nice. It actually showed the thing. Okay, now let's do the edit. Let's copy the same thing. This is interesting. What was it? Update the second one? Edit. Like what fascinates me is like it's on the get-go. It just like it works. I mean, you get some result out of it, which is pretty cool. So yeah, now I'm curious, like how is it gonna change? Well, it depends. The update expense, it's gonna be like on the function of update. Okay, so on the button edit. All right, so it's gonna go and explain everything. I don't need the explanation. All I want is just to make this work. Let's go here, add an expense. I'm just gonna put like random data. If I edit, wow. Okay. So far, this is working great. I mean, I'm not expecting it to write like really complex logic, but it's doing its job. Okay, let's do the. So we have like edit expense. Why I don't need update expense. So that's kind of like maybe like that's on me. I did write something about like add, edit, update, and delete. Yeah, so that's on me. So I'm just gonna delete the update because edit is update. Or actually we can, yeah, let's keep the edit as update. Okay, so let's do, in this example, method uses prompt function. Before updating the expense, it validates the new. So yeah, the prompt is definitely gonna evaluate stuff for us and on the get-go. So that's good. Like it has like some validation. Okay, now write code for delete expense. Okay, it's using splice. Very interesting. No higher order functions. I'm fine. So add expense. Yeah, so that's like kind of the validation it's not putting, but it's fine. It's the delete is working. Let's add couple and see like what's gonna happen. And then add. Sure. Okay. Oh, because, yeah. So let's add an expense. Okay. And then 1, 2, 3 and delete. That will give us the confirmation. If I cancel it, we'll keep it. Okay. All right. I mean, we did. Let's just do the total expense now. Right. The total expense. I mean, obviously, I'm utilizing a couple of like my knowledge of like where to put this, but anyways, I mean, it's obvious. It's clear that like you could just like replace that piece of block of code. Oh, let's format because I hate this. Okay. Let's see if it's gonna run anything else. This function to calculate. Okay, so it's using reduce. Yeah, that's literally the same thing I wrote. Fascinating. Okay, so let's do total. And you could see like it's using view 3, but it's not using like the setup format, like the newest of the view. So it's just like using the CLI, and CLI, that's what it uses. So let's add an expense. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that added that, and then let's do okay, and then like so, and yeah, total is correct. Okay, so we did write the total, the add. That's fascinating. Now let's persist the data and store it in the browser. So yeah, like basically it did all this, added that, added this, which is almost like everything. So that's fascinating. Okay, so now it's actually adding this, but not in a way. It's good, like it's adding all this code, but it's not saying that like you need to. Well, that's great. It's talking about create a lifecycle. Okay. I don't know if this is scary or okay. So let's go back here to app and let's add. All right, so let's add. Let's refresh. Edit. Okay. Okay, that updates. Amazing. And if I delete, okay, and refresh. Wow. Okay. Now, style the page to look decent. Look pretty. Okay, I'm just gonna copy the code and add it right here. All right. Make the expense list item to, or style the expense list item to be in one row. So the main container, the row, the H1. What has changed? Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's what it added extra. So let's delete this. Missing something? On display flex. Okay, what else in the mock? In the edit button, replace text with icon of pencil. Is that gonna work? Choosing font, awesome. Let's see. Can we add that? Is it gonna say like how to add it to the? Oh my god. This is fascinating, y'all. Okay, so let's say I'm just gonna make this a bit better format wise, and then replace this. Okay, let's see if it's gonna tell me like where. Okay, so in our font awesome library, you include it in your project. You can do this, including the CSS file and the head of your HTML file. So again, it's not going into a lot of details, but obviously it's right here. So I'm just gonna add this. Let's see, and that's wow. Okay. Do the same for delete, but choose. Let's challenge it. Choose the proper icon. If it's gonna use the trash. Oh my god, this is awesome. Okay. Wow. I didn't even have to give it like details of like what type of icon that I'm looking for. Okay. I don't know if this is scary or great. Yeah, there is a problem with the price. And there's like a null value. But anyways. Okay. I mean, so far I have like almost everything I need. Obviously it's not it does not look as my app. Do we want to go like an extra? I mean, I don't know. Like it the purpose of this like experiment is basically just to see like how easy to build an app using ChatGPT. Obviously, like we're not using the latest recommended libraries, but we did build an app nonetheless. And I'm pretty sure I can go further and say like separate the total row from expense list with a divider and style it. Like what fascinates me is like it takes whatever like you started with and it just build on top of it. It's not gonna like it's not writing new stuff. It just like builds on top of it. Like right now, like it's using literally the same classes. So not sure where is it bringing this data from, but I'm pretty sure it's like somewhere. And see like those icons now it's with the like the buttons now with the icon. So it's not yeah, like there you go. So we got the HR with the divider class and it just created that style. I'm gonna stop it. I don't want the explanation. Don't want to waste time, but we can just say where did it put it after the div? And then and let's do the divider. And this is in the styling. So let's do this. Let's go back there and we have a divider. It's pretty awesome. Okay. Okay. I'll just keep going and see like where I can take this ChatGPT thing. Add a toggle button to toggle light and dark mode in the app. Let's see if it's gonna add it. I'm pretty sure it's gonna add it on the same thing. There we go. Yeah, but like it added it just only on the or the same container. So the main container to dark mode, and then there's the button to toggle dark mode. So it added to add expense. Okay, so yeah, which makes sense to add it there. And then added a new piece of data. And then added a method. All right, and then added all these styles. I don't think I need to change any of these styles because it's the same. Yeah, expense item, I didn't add that. So let's do this. Let's add expense item and let's add the dark mode. Wow. Fascinating. Okay, so let's say, yeah, so the dark mode is not persistent. We can do that. Let's just add this class to the li first. Make the theme toggle persist. All right, and instead of the main container to be themed, I want the whole app to be themed instead. Okay, and it did put it in the right spot. So it added it to the created, which is great because like once the page loads, and it added all the proper code to it, which is nice. And then toggle dark mode, which is gonna be here. And if you refresh, and then did I say, oh, I didn't. So yeah, let's toggle refresh and it's still dark. Toggle refresh and it's still dark. Great. Let's see. You can achieve by applying the dark mode class to the body. All right, let's see how's it gonna change that class. So I'll add. It says to add the class dark mode to the body. Class equals to dark mode. And then we keep the same thing. We just add this in the toggle. So let's go back to app. Wow. Oops. Ah, it's not persisted. Okay. Yeah, this is like, obviously like the problem is this. It's like once you add an empty string to a class is just going to complain about it. But it just gave me that bad code. And honestly, like if I'm not a developer, it should probably take me like an hour. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to like move forward. I feel like we got like what we wanted from this app. And yeah, I mean, it's great. It's great. Like, it's fascinating. It's like how fast it is. It's just like to give me the whole thing. However, you could look at the app right now. Like, the styling is not the perfect styles. Like, if I compare it to my actual app that I created, I could see the difference. Added better styling, better functionality, like to show and toggle an input. I guess we can get to there, but the time to take this is going to take longer. Is it going to replace, like, the $1 million question is, like, is it going to replace software engineers? I don't think so. And obviously, we stumbled upon, like, a huge error right here where, like, it just gave me bad code. And that's kind of, like, what I was, to be honest, anticipating. Because, like, those AI tools, like, they're great. They're sometimes somewhat perfect, but there are some limitation. So let's sum up what limitation this app had. Well, first of all, it's using prompt. So it's like we're in 1999. I mean, we technically can ask it to make a proper validation, and I'm pretty sure it will get me there. But that's not like my whole like I'm not gonna just like diss it for that. So we can say that's kind of like a bad and a good thing or okay thing. Did we get the app? We did get the app. That's great. But it didn't tell us to like remove this component, for example. Like if I'm not a programmer, I don't know. I will keep this here and it's living there in the code and it's not proper to keep like that code in your code base. So that's one problem. You got like your favicon still there. You haven't changed that. Obviously, you could ask it, so I'm not going to get to that. Toggle mode, you could see like it's not persistent anymore. I mean, again, I could probably go further and just like make it to be kind of like persist. But it's still like you could see like all the styling for the app. It's not great. Functionality wise, it worked. Like that's literally what I wanted. Like as a consumer, probably like this is great. But as a user, like someone with like all these pretty apps in the world right now, having somewhat this is not great. So to answer the question, would it replace? I don't think so. Not like in the near future. It needs to be like, it needs to take time. Yes, it might like hit the functionality that you wanted as like a single user, but as like a full application app that you could just like present to people and productionize, this is not great, honestly. It doesn't look good. It functions okay, but I'm pretty sure if I'm not a developer, it will take me like a long time. As for developer, honestly, it would put you in God mode. A lot of the time that like I spend time is just like searching, checking Stack Overflow for a certain problem or whatever. Maybe like that will be like really helpful. So even if you are like a non-developer, it's good for you. But if you are a developer, this is like a next level stuff. So there will be like two, like let's say like two group of people that uses this thing ChatGPT. It's not the first one is like non-technical person, and the other one is actually a real software engineer or a web developer or whatever, or someone who codes for a living. So that it will just take you to the next level. Like to be really, really fast, really, really efficient, like get your answer quickly instead of just keep Googling and until you find the right answer. So will it replace? I don't think so. Will enhance you as a web developer? Yes, hell yeah. That's kind of like my 2 cents. I don't think this will replace anyone in the near future, but definitely, it's a great tool. So you could imagine like a software engineer, like, hey, I could build you this app. Like if you have the knowledge, this is really, really great for you. But if you don't, you're going to struggle. You're not going to have a proper app. I'm pretty sure you're going to have like, we're talking like a simple app. Like right now, like we have the expense tracker. It's just a really simple app. Like let's talk about like API when it gets into there. Validation, your login, your authentication, your database setup. Trust me, you don't want to get to this. Like you would rather just to go and hire someone who knows what they're doing. But like for someone just to start, there are no recommendation, good recommendation. I'm pretty sure this AI will give you. So yeah, I mean, that's the gist of it. I don't want to go further because I mean, we got the idea. Yeah, cool. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm going to use this. And honestly, I'll ask it right now with the problem that we had before. How to set a state in view composition API. So set up function, and now it's going to give me that setup function. So it's not going to give me, yeah, there we go. It gave me the export default. It didn't give me that setup. So I'm pretty sure that like its data, it's not updated. It's not up to date. But yeah, it's saying that like you could use ref. That's what it is. And dark dot value do not equal dot dark value. So it's using that, and also the reactive. So that's cool. Like that kind of struggle that I had when I was working on the app and the improper documentation or like misleading documentation. Like this is great. Like I can legitimately just know like, okay, these are the two. I don't have to keep searching or what is the best practice one. That's what it is. Like you could use the reactive, you could use the ref. So I know now those two. Perfect. So I guess to sum up, yeah, this is great. I had a lot of fun building this, and I hope you too. I mean, hope you learned something about this. And if you are a software engineer, yeah, this is not something to be worried about. Honestly, it's something to be actually excited about because it will help you to go to the next level that you were looking for. Instead of like spending hours researching, this tool could help you just to get there faster. And for non-developer, well, good luck to build an app using this. I mean, if you succeeded, kudos. But again, your app is going to have a lot of bugs. Security-wise, you need to think about like security. You need to think about like where to store data, how much you're going to spend a month, how to use AWS if you want to store your data there, or maybe like Heroku if you want to push your app. But I'm pretty sure it will just take you a really long time. So yeah, it's not going to replace anybody anytime soon. So thank you everyone so much for watching. This was really fun. I would love your comments. I would love your ideas. Tell me like what you think about this video, if you liked it or not, or if you found it useful or not. And also, if you wanted to support me, you could hit that subscribe button. Don't be shy. It's free. It's not going to do anything to you. You're not going to pay anything. You're just going to click that subscribe button, and then you'll help support me and keep this channel going. So thank you. Thank you every single one of you watching, subscribed, and liked this video. I appreciate you. And I hope in the next week we will get into new material. So until then, stay curious.